Hey everyone, it's your Wolf Boy here. I know what you're thinking. David's retrospectives on the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Well, I did make some retrospectives on Sonic's past TV shows, from Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog all the way to Sonic Prime Season 3. I am going to be doing another Sonic TV retrospective on Knuckles on Paramount Plus when all 6 episodes drop next month, April 26th. And before that, I want to do two special little retrospective videos on the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Originally, I was gonna combine the first two movies into one big discussion video, but I figured the video itself would be too damned long, and it would be just about as long as either Lord of the Rings or Zack Snyder's Justice League or Oppenheimer or Killers of the Flower Moon. Yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon is supposed to be infamously long. I've never seen it, but I don't know if I'm gonna be checking it out anytime soon because I used to have Apple, but I don't anymore. But anyway, that's not the point. Anyway, the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie is, without a doubt, one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. But we'll get to that in a minute. Now, a live-action Sonic the Hedgehog movie was first greenlit back in 2014, I want to say, and it was going to be done by Sony Columbia Pictures before it was ultimately bought out, but not bought out, until Paramount decided to take over for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Yeah, around the time when it was greenlit, I didn't know what to make of it at first because Sonic was meant to be some animated cartoon hedgehog who runs faster than the speed of sound. A lot of people were unsure about this way back when it was greenlit, but a few years later, Paramount decided to greenlight it and begin production on the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And then, the announcement of the cast, we have Jim Carrey as Robotnik, Ben Schwartz as Sonic, Tika Sumpter, James Marsden, Adam Pally, Lee Majdoub, and Natasha Rothwell, to name a few. And so many colorful characters. When it was announced that Jim Carrey would play Dr. Robotnik, or as everyone calls him, Eggman, I was so fucking happy. Because I grew up with a lot of Jim Carrey's movies, like How the Grinch Stole Christmas, A Series of Unfortunate Events, and Yes Man. Yeah, I think that was one of the first PG-13 movies I ever saw at the theater. Yes Man, with Jim Carrey, where Jim Carrey plays a down on his luck man who always says no to everything until he attends a seminar and he basically says yes to everything, all while getting him into a bunch of crazy shenanigans. But yes, and when it was announced that Ben Schwartz would voice Sonic, I initially didn't know who Ben Schwartz was at the time until I looked up clips from Parks and Rec and the DuckTales reboot. And when I heard Ben Schwartz's voices for Dewey from DuckTales and what was his character's name in Parks and Rec? Let me look it up real quick. Alright, Parks and Recreation. It's off the tip of my tongue. Jean-Ralphio, I want to say. That sounds about right. Alright. Jean-Ralphio, yeah. Jean-Ralphio Saperstein. I think I've only seen 1 or 2 episodes of Parks and Rec, and that's not where I first knew Ben Schwartz from. But let us address the elephant in the room. The very first trailer that we got for the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. I'm not going to show it here, but it will live in infamy as one of the most disliked YouTube videos until Paramount, upon releasing the second trailer with the fixed design of Sonic. The first trailer was basically Thanos snapped out of existence. Damn it! Come on, snap! Sometimes I can snap and sometimes I can't. Hang on. There we go! Yeah, sometimes I can snap and sometimes I can't. I know how to do it. It's just that sometimes it sounds off, but sometimes I get it just right. Kind of like whistling. Yeah, see that? Alright, now that I got that whistle out of my system, the first ugly design of Sonic. It was horrifying. My older sister, in real life, called it bad taxidermy. Those were her actual words to describe the horrifying Sonic. Well, I reacted to that trailer on my old YouTube channel, and I made a Dr. Seuss joke with the old design of Sonic, calling him the Hog and the Clogs, because he looked ugly. He looked like a Dr. Seuss character on coke. And by coke, I don't mean Coca-Cola, I mean cocaine. Just wanted to clear that up. Well, the standout was still, in that first trailer, was still Jim Carrey being Dr. Robotnik. That was the only thing I liked about the trailer itself, but the design of Sonic looked horrible. It was supposed to come out in November of 2019, but due to internet backlash, they decided to delay the film by 3 months just so they can fix up Sonic. And then, in November of 2019, we got the second trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, and oh my god, was I so happy. I could not stop smiling throughout the entire day. It's like Sonic the Hedgehog really had come to life right before my very eyes. The way he was meant to be, not unlike the Hog and the Clogs, or the Naked Mole Rat Sonic, as I call him. One thing I find funny about the Naked Mole Rat Sonic is that they decided to add Naked Mole Rat Sonic as a side character in the Disney Plus original movie Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers with Andy Samberg and John Mulaney. Now that was a damn funny movie, and I kinda lost my shit when I saw the hideous Sonic in the Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. I don't know if it was supposed to be a joke or if... I don't know. But all I know is that Ben Schwartz did not voice the hideous Sonic in Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. But even though the design of Sonic looked horrible in the first trailer, I loved Ben Schwartz's voice for Sonic. He sounded exactly like Sonic. I don't think he was trying to sound exactly like Roger Craig Smith or Jason Griffith or Ryan Drummond. Just like when I voice Sonic in my YouTube videos, I just use my regular speaking voice that I'm doing right now. I don't try to do any impressions of existing Sonic voice actors. It's just my own spin, my own take on Sonic, making him sound younger. Like late teens, early 20s. Well, I'm 28 right now, and yeah. So eventually, on February 14th of 2020, right before the world went to shit because of COVID, we got the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie, released 1 week after we got the Birds of Prey with Harley Quinn. And this was 1 month before Gina and I went to Kansas to see Sonic Dragon Girl 23. If you're watching this, shout out to you. David Table Manners. Damn it, David! Sorry, Eugene. Anyway, of course I had to go see the Sonic the Hedgehog movie right when the movie theater doors opened. Like, there are 3 theaters in my area. One of them is in AMC Theaters, and another was Showcase Cinemas. I don't know if there's any Showcase Cinemas where you guys are at. I know some of you have Regal Cinemas or Apple Cinemas. Well, I don't think there's a Regal Cinemas near me, but I know there's plenty of AMC theaters out there. And there's one theater near me. I don't want to reveal the name of it, but it's an independent-owned theater. It's a 15-minute drive from where I live, and it is one of the best movie theaters I've ever been to. It first opened in, I want to say, November of 2017. I remember the first movie I saw at this theater was Coco. And I was going to reserve that particular theater for Sonic the Hedgehog. Well, I actually went to this particular theater for my second viewing of Sonic the Hedgehog. My first viewing of Sonic the Hedgehog was at AMC Theaters because I had a movie pass that I wanted to use up, and I knew just what to use it on. But yeah, when I went in to see Sonic the Hedgehog for the very first time, I was blown away. It was like my favorite character in all of fiction has come to life. And it was just surreal to me. Just about as surreal as seeing Sonic in Wreck-It Ralph giving that little speech to the video game characters of Litwack's Arcade. Now, Wreck-It Ralph, I don't know if I'm going to do a review of that on my channel, or Ralph Breaks the Internet. Now, Ralph Breaks the Internet, I did a Sonic and Sonic review on my old channel. Same with this movie. So yeah, I'm not going to do a spoiler rundown of the movie, just my thoughts on it and everything. But I will admit this. I've seen this movie like over 20 times, and I can quote it word for word. That is how much I love the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. If I can quote something word for word. So, I know what you're thinking. Why is there... Hang on. So, I know what you're thinking. Why is that incredibly handsome hedgehog being chased by a madman with a mustache from the Civil War? Well, to be honest, I have been running my whole... I don't remember how that goes, but yeah. You get what I'm saying. Now, the baby Sonic, as shown at the very beginning of the movie with Longclaw, the owl. He was such a jelly bean. Protect the child. Yes. Even though he was dubbed Baby Sonic, he was a little kid and he could still talk. Like, no one saw me. I'm too fast. And I wanted to bring you this. And it was a tragic day for Sonic 2 because he was separated from Longclaw, who gave him a bag of rings. The rings in the movies basically open up a portal to another end, kind of like Doctor Strange in a way. So yes. Now, Tom Wachowski, I gotta admit, at first I wasn't so sure about a human companion for Sonic because we're used to seeing him with Tails and Knuckles. But Tails and Knuckles weren't even introduced in this movie yet. They wouldn't be introduced until Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which I will talk about in the next video. I think it was originally going to be played by Paul Rudd before James Marsden was ultimately cast. I wouldn't have seen Paul Rudd in that role, but James Marsden, on the other hand, James Marsden, he's one of my personal favorites. I knew him from the X-Men movies when he played Cyclops. He played Lois Lane's husband in Superman Returns. And he played Prince Edward in Enchanted and the Disney Plus original movie Disenchanted. And he was also in Hairspray. I don't remember him in a whole bunch of other movies, but I definitely... His favorite role of mine is definitely Tom Wachowski, or as Sonic calls him, Donut Lord. Like, every time I see James Marsden on screen, no matter what movie I'm watching, like X-Men or Superman or Enchanted, I was like, oh my god, it's Donut Lord! Yeah, can't you tell that I'm probably one of the biggest Sonic the Hedgehog fans you will ever meet in the universe? Now, before I saw Sonic the Hedgehog, I did not see Speed with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock and Dennis Hopper. I literally looked that movie up after I got out from seeing the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie for the very first time. And it wasn't streaming anywhere, sadly, so I just went onto Amazon, ordered a Blu-ray copy, and I decided to sit down and watch it, and boy was that one of the best decisions of my life, because Speed is one of my personal favorite 90s action movies. I know Sonic in the movies loves action movies, and I do to an extent too, like Indiana Jones, John Wick, Terminator, Speed, Die Hard. There's just so many others I need to check out, like Total Recall, Minority Report. Well, I love Mission Impossible, and I love Top Gun. Those are great. I just don't know about other action films in the genre. It's always been one of my favorite genres next to comedy. And that's what Sonic the Hedgehog is. A nice blend of action and a nice blend of comedy. Well, some of the jokes were hit and miss in this movie. Like Sonic passing gas in the motel room where he's wearing a towel over his waist and he wore slippers for some fucking reason. Like, I don't think motel on the side of the street would supply slippers to guests. I don't know how he found the slippers to begin with, but it's not one of those hotels where you just find a bathrobe in a closet and just put it on and just chillax for a bit, drinking your champagne, eating your room service, and just watching TV. But Jim Carrey is great in this movie and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I honestly cannot wait to see him in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. If you love the Sonic the Hedgehog games and you've never seen this movie, well, you're gonna have one hell of a field day with the Easter eggs in this movie. Like, the biggest, most obvious Easter egg in the movie is Green Hills, Montana. Because Green Hill Zone from the first Sonic the Hedgehog on Sega Genesis. There's also a sign that says Hilltop Road that Sonic plays ping pong on. And when Sonic is waving around a bunch of nunchucks, the bandana on his forehead has the emblem that appears in the first Sonic the Hedgehog game. And there's plenty others too. Of course, there's a bunch of product placement all throughout the movie and a bunch of pop culture references. Like Keanu Reeves. Damn it, David! David! Man. So anyway, where were we? Oh yeah, that's right. Direct pop culture references and product placement. Like Sonic reading the Flash comics, Sonic referencing the Civil War, and Obi-Wan Kenobi, and doing a Spider-Man quote with great power comes great power hungry bad guys, and I led them right to us. I don't remember them all. Like, ZZ Top is one of them. Oh, also needle drops of popular songs like Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. And I can't remember the other songs that were in this movie. But you wouldn't find those songs in a Sonic game. That's for damn sure. Yes. Also, Olive Garden. They mention Olive Garden quite a few times in this movie. Once by Tom when he's asked to check his phone for dating apps, and he finds Olive Garden on there, and at the very end, the gun commander is obsessed with Olive Garden, and that is his favorite restaurant, and he loves their never-ending pasta bowls. David! Table manners! Have you tried their never-ending pasta bowl? It never ends. You know, I've only been to Olive Garden once in my life, and I remember their breadsticks being fan-fucking-tastic. I've been meaning to go back to Olive Garden because of this movie, but I haven't gotten around to it yet because I've been busy and a lot of other places were more suited for lunch. Yeah. And poor Sonic being lonely, playing baseball. Oh yeah, baseball. I didn't know if that was a reference to that one Sonic X episode where Sonic and crew play baseball against Eggman and his robots, but I just thought it was a neat little reference, even though I don't know if it was a direct reference. It maybe wasn't referencing Sonic X at all. I just thought I'd make it the connection. Also, the bar scene. The bar scene is my favorite scene in the entire movie for several reasons. I think it was a callback to Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog where Sonic had a bunch of cool, clever disguises to fool Scratch and Grounder. Speaking of Scratch and Grounder, the voice of Grounder in Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog made an appearance in this movie. He was one of the army guys saying, well, our first instinct it was an EMP. Except electromagnetic pulses don't have that kind of power. Also, the waitress in the bar scene, she would later go on to portray Amy and her variants in Sonic Prime. Like, after watching this movie, Lord knows how many times after I got done watching the first season of Sonic Prime, I was like, oh my god, that voice sounds familiar. Oh my god, it's Amy and her variants from Sonic Prime. And the whole bar fight scene. And also, everything slowing down around Sonic and Sonic doing a bunch of crazy shenanigans. I think it's directly copying X-Men Days of Future Past with Evan Peters' Quicksilver, where everything around him slows down and he does a bunch of silly things like eating soup around the kitchen in Days of Future Past, knocking bullets out of the way, and causing a mess everywhere. Also, X-Men Apocalypse. As weak as that movie was, the Quicksilver scene where he saves everyone from the mansion exploding, that was definitely the highlight of the movie. Oh, well, popular songs play in the background, like Time in a Bottle in Days of Future Past, and Sweet Dreams Are Made of This in X-Men Apocalypse. Sweet dreams are made of cheese. Who am I to disagree? I cheddar the. I forget how that silly cheese thing goes. Hang on, let me look it up real quick. Ah, found it. Sweet dreams are made of cheese. Who am I to disagree? I cheddar the world and a feta cheese. Everybody's looking for Stilton. Yes. And I had to whistle it there because I'm a whistling show off. I just love that callback to the X-Men movies with Evan Peters' Quicksilver. I just wish they could have done a scene like that in fucking Dark Phoenix. Just the fact that there was no scene like that in Dark Phoenix had me completely fucking pissed. Like, what the hell were they thinking? But yes, the bar fight is definitely my favorite scene in this movie. Although there were some kinds of toilet humor jokes like, did you see how much toilet paper I use? The next person who goes into the bathroom will have nothing to wipe with. Like, why the hell? Sonic, you know better than this. And for some reason, Sonic generates electricity whenever he goes fast, like the Flash. While in normal games, Sonic does not generate electricity whenever he goes fast or does epic things. Also, whenever his body is surrounded by electricity, his eyes turn blue. Like, come forth, Blue Eyes Blue Hedgehog, in attack mode. And I place this card face down and I end my turn. Your move, Yugi Moto. Very well then, Seto Kaiba. And have I mentioned how much I adore Jim Carrey's portrayal of Dr. Robotnik in this movie? Like, I definitely love how he was dancing while studying Sonic's quill energy for his special little machine and doing Where Evil Grows by the Poppy Family. And his assistant is Agent Stone. Well, I'm used to him having robot assistants like Orbot and Cubot in the games. And Sonic Boom and Sonic Prime. But Agent Stone, he's alright, I guess. I mean, he had his moments. But he wasn't given a whole bunch to do other than be a punching bag to Eggman. But he plays a bigger role in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But I know we're going to be seeing him again in Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Also, Sonic spends a good majority of the movie with gray, worn down sneakers or shoes. And he doesn't get the iconic red and white sneakers until towards the middle of the movie, where Tom and Maddie's niece, JoJo, gives Sonic a conveniently fitting pair of shoes so that Sonic doesn't hurt his feet anymore. so he could cross it off his bucket list. Yes, bucket lists are a huge thing in this movie, where Sonic had to cross off a bunch of things on his bucket list that he wanted to do before he kicked the bucket. Well, technically, he kicked the bucket in Sonic 06, but we don't talk about that. Yeah, that's what I have to say about Sonic 06. A loud supersonic belch. This movie does have some mild cursing, like, "Who the hell do you think you are? I'm the Donut Lord, you son of a..." But they cut it off because they wanted to avoid a PG-13 rating with Sonic. However, with the game Shadow the Hedgehog, they pulled no fucking punches with the cursing and the guns. Well, they only said damn, but that's about it. No utterances of the word fuck or shit or ass or piss or any of all that yada yada that is often used in South Park. And then the mid-credit scene of this movie where we got Tails for the first time. I was like, oh my god, it's Tails! I don't remember my entire theater losing their shit when they saw Tails, but I know I lost my shit when I saw Tails. Now, when Shadow was revealed at the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, that was a much different story. This movie got a mixed reception at the box office, but I absolutely adored this movie. And Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Although, I can say that the Hawaii wedding scene was a completely unnecessary subplot for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I'll explore that more when I make a video like this about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. But yes, that's my retrospective on the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Like, a brief history on the movie and the challenges it faced during production and post-production and just how the movie turned out. And the movie turned out really damn good. Well, in my case, it turned out excellent. And it's my favorite movie of 2020. Which isn't saying a whole lot because 2020 was a dreadful year for movies. And there were some great movies that came out of 2020, like Soul on Disney+. Which is one of the, in my opinion, best Pixar films in recent years. The Sonic the Hedgehog. What else can I say? It is one of my favorite movies of all time. I can quote this movie word for word. And yes. What are your favorite moments from Sonic the Hedgehog? Do you like the movie? Do you not like the movie? Do you have issues with it? I'm going to be doing another video like this for Sonic the Hedgehog 2 next month. And it will be uploaded before we get the Knuckles Paramount Plus series on April 26th. I can't think of much else to say about this movie that hasn't already been said. And lately, I've made it a tradition to watch this movie and Sonic the Hedgehog 2 whenever we get new Sonic games, like Sonic Frontiers, Sonic Superstars. Heck, even Sonic and Shadow Generations. Well, I'm going to be watching those movies again anyway, before we get Sonic the Hedgehog 3 in December. But yes, I love everything about Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie. The overall design of Sonic, Ben Schwartz's performance as Sonic, Jim Carrey as Robotnik. I also like James Marsden in this movie too. And a lot of the colorful cast of Green Hills. this is by far one of the best video game movies I've ever seen. And before this movie came out, video game movies were infamous for being bad. Like the 1993 Super Mario Bros. Movie, Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider. And then we got Detective Pikachu, which looked very promising. I mean, I really liked the Detective Pikachu movie with Ryan Reynolds. I have a Blu-ray of it and everything. Although I definitely need to sit down and watch that movie again. But Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes. Absolutely yes. Yeah, this really set the stage for video game movie adaptations. And so far there's been a resurgence in video game movies, like the Uncharted movie with Tom Holland, the upcoming Borderlands movie, Gran Turismo, the Super Mario Bros. Movie from Illumination. Did I already say that? I don't remember. But yeah, that. So yeah, Sonic the Hedgehog changed video game cinema as we know it. And I'm just grateful for this movie that it came out before the world went to shit and everybody and their brother had to wear those fucking masks everywhere they went. But yes, I love this movie. It is one of my absolute favorites. And I could watch it over and over again and not get bored. That's how good this movie is. As a Sonic fan, it made me happy. And as a cinema goer, it made me very happy. Especially from the perspective of a Sonic the Hedgehog fan who has been a fan of Sonic the Hedgehog since 2011 when I first got Sonic and the Black Knight on the Wii. Right when I picked up Sonic and the Black Knight on the Wii, I knew what I was in for with Sonic. And lo and behold, we got a new Sonic the Hedgehog movie that came out in 2020. And then Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the Knuckles series, and Sonic the Hedgehog 3 coming out in December. So yes, that pretty much does it for my retrospective on the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Stay tuned this April for my retrospective on Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Well, on this channel, Sonic and Sonic did a review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. That video will still be there, but I will do a video like this, covering Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So yes, favorite moments from the first Sonic the Hedgehog movie. What do you like about it? What do you not like about it? And yeah, let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye!